Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It is November 11th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and another range day today. A little bit, maybe a little bit tighter range than we had yesterday. Um, I can't remember how wide the range was. It seemed like it was a little bigger yesterday. The volume is down considerably, and the volatility seems to be. We still had some quick moves and some reversals, but for the most part, the volatility seems, especially from about mid-morning on, we did get a little bit here late in the evening, but that's well after 2 o'clock. So if you just look during the 2 o'clock hour, um, it just seems the market's calmed down a little bit. So maybe we're headed back to normal. Some of you that have not traded a normal market are probably going to think the market died because normally the ES just doesn't move this much with this much volatility and the kind of volume it's had lately. It's always has a lot of volume, but it just doesn't seem to have anything like it has had lately. So one note, these purple areas, just stay out of that. They're just, you just can't find a trade. It's just too tight and too up and down, and you really can't find a trade in there. So that's the reason I mark those like that. Anytime you see the boxes that are purple like that, just stay out of that stuff. Wait for something to happen to clarify what prices are going to do. Especially this is just way too tight. The bias is down and there's no entries to the downside at all. Here the bias is still kind of down, but you got a trend working up, and it's just, if you try to take a second entry or a failure, you just get chopped all to pieces. So anyway, keep that in mind. Let's back out. We'll talk about the trade. You see the big picture there. It's just a range day. And oops, didn't mean to go way over there. 7 o'clock came, I believe, just as we're coming down right here and making this next leg up. And there's just too much resistance. There's a failure here with a reversal, and you can see you got to go long right into a double top. Don't ever do that. You're just asking for trouble. And if you did that, you got trapped to the long side. It makes a lower high here, which is tempting to go short after a triple test, but there's just not much room to where you had a lot of support here either. So you just kind of have to watch this one go without you. But if you're just patient, right here at the opening, you get a first entry, a second entry short, and this actually breaks higher and turns down. I'd go short one tick below that green bar. You could wait for this one to close, but if you do, you've got a little bit of support across there. So and not much room. There's still enough room to get out, so you may take that one anyway, but I believe the entry is one tick below here. So when it breaks higher and turns down, just be expecting that if it breaks lower, I want to go with it, and put your sell stop one tick below that green bar. And when it breaks lower, it sweeps you right in the trade. And that was a quick, easy one, and you would have got an easy runner on that too. It may have only been 2 or 3 points, but you still get a runner there. So, and you think about it, you get 3 points on even one runner, and that's basically the same as 3 scalps. So that these runners really change your numbers, and so anytime you can get a runner, you want to try to get them. Some people don't have a lot of luck with runners, but a lot of that has to do with your experience level, and where you're entering and how you're entering. But you can see here clearly you'd have got an easy runner. So, but anyway, we move on down, we bounce here, and notice you got the trend working up. You also get a breakout of the channel here, so we come back and we bounce. You don't want to go long there. So especially you're just waiting on prices to come back this trend line. Unfortunately, you don't get a good signal bar there because there is 2 legs up already, but you get a lower high here and it breaks higher and turns and goes down another engulfing bar. If you didn't enter that way, once this stops, it's not a very good signal bar, and I don't see any of those being worth entering on. I think you just have to miss this trade if you didn't enter on the engulfing bar right there. drops down to the lower side of the channel, and then we work back. And again, just stay out of this. The only one you might could have entered was this one, because you get a good signal bar and you've really got a triple test across there. But notice how we're making lower lows and lower highs here. We're still respecting this channel, but the price action is just look how flat the EMA is, lots of up and down, lots of congestion. You're probably better off just skip that. And we come back to the trend line. We get a failed break out of this little range. This is a range like here as well, but you get an overshoot of the channel. You get a lower high. Unfortunately, you can't use that for a signal bar. You could use this one, but now you're right into the lows, so you don't want to enter there. But when it comes back and gives you the failed second entry long, I like going short right there. That was a pretty good trade. You would think that we're going on down to make a new low here. It does come back. This is basically a double top, so this is technically a failed second entry long here. You can treat it like one. And again, it breaks higher and turns down. This one's a little bit aggressive. But we did get the overshoot. We are still in the downtrend channel. So if you got room to get out before these little 2-bar matching lows, you may take this. And you probably could have on the engulfing bar. If you wait till here, it still would have worked, but you probably don't have enough room to get out just looking at it right there. So I think it would have been a 4-tick failure if you went short below this bar. But if you went short below this one, you got enough to get out. I believe that's right. I didn't count it, but you can look at it and see. I think it's just too risky to wait till here. But we turn up out of this, and you get this channel working higher here. We actually shoot back into this channel and come back and test it. The EMA, you got this trend line, you got this trend line, you got the EMA, you got all of those stacking up right there. And so if you get an entry here, if your chart looks a little different, they're matching lows on mine. So you can't really enter it on an engulfing bar. So you have to enter way up here, and that makes it a little more risky. So technically, you probably should wait for the true failure, which is here, which is really how I meant to mark that. And this one should have been green. I forgot to go back and change it. So let's do that right now. So this one's a little risky unless yours sets up a little different. If you had a small bar here that hadn't moved that far, I'd say you might, if it was this size, you might still use it. But with this one, unless it broke lower and gave you an engulfing entry right here, then you're better off to wait and see if you get a reversal pattern, which you do. And so I like that one. Again, you're close to the highs here, but notice how we pushed out here, and we've got a break, and we don't have a new high in place yet. And that does confirm this trend line. You also got the midline there. So I like entering right here. And you're not really expecting it to take off like this, but you're just really looking for it to kind of make a new high and then maybe turn back down again. But this thing just keeps going. And there's a little bit of a sideways. I didn't put it on here, but you can see there's a little bit of a sideways channel here too. So it kind of spikes up and goes into this channel, but you get a break pretty quickly and the 2 legs up, and then it turns over. And so really, I think you were better off playing this as sideways rather than this channel here. Notice we don't get a lot of touches off these highs. So I really like playing it as the sideways stuff here. And this is 2 sideways. You're getting a little congestive here, but I like this one just because it makes a new low here, and it is a second entry, and it's the first break. We're not back to the highs. We'll probably try to make a new high on this channel. There's a few reasons to like that one. It's a little bit congestive looking, but just the fact that this drops lower than any of these points and creates a trap on a second entry long, I like taking that one, especially when you're looking for prices to go higher anyway. This one, this is another one here, but this one's just a little too congestive and a little too tight. And the fact that this one is inside of this one, it leads me to, if you'd had this bar over here, then maybe you take that one, but I don't like it the way it is. It still works, but it's just not a great setup. And then we come back and we come up here and we finally make a lower high. And there's a second entry short here too on this lower high. So I like that one. Plenty of room back to the EMA. And that's why we need a little room, because again, it bounces at the EMA. And then we get a lower high here. And so you'll probably make a second leg down at a minimum there. If you draw that first leg. So you're looking for a measured move similar to that, which is basically back down to the low of the channel, and then it bounces. So now you got a second entry long and a bounce off the lows of this range, and you can ride it back to the highs, and you get another chance to go short at the highs on another lower high right there. And a little bit of, there's a little 2-bar matching high, and it's a little failed break higher. And if you catch this trade, you get a pretty good move out of it. There's a lower high here, but right into the lows of the range. Skip that. Then you make a little second entry here. It's clearly 2 legs back to the trend line, and it's clearly a second entry. It's a little bit sideways looking, but you can see clear it's right off that trend channel, and this trend channel is definitely in play. So I like that one. It comes back again here, and you just get a first entry. But this is a fairly tight channel, and there's not a lot of room to get second entries. I went back and forth whether to make this one possibly green since it's a first entry. But there's 2 legs down here too. And so you might look at this similar to a failed second entry long. And it's a really good signal bar as well. And you're looking for prices to come down here anyway. So that's the real key to it. And that took you into 2 o'clock. So you can see how much quieter it was today, how much less price action, how many fewer trades. It's the first time I've been able to do a chart lesson and go through all the trades rather thoroughly in under 15 minutes. It's been a while since we could do that. So let's back out here and give you the big picture again. You really had a 2-tiered channel up, a 2-tiered channel down, and then this real tight up, and then a real tight one back down again. And this tend to be your lows for the day. And these were your highs up here for the most part. The highs were not consistent like the lows were. They were rather consistent. That was the other thing. If you'd have got a little higher low before 2 o'clock, you might have gone long here. And because this is a failed break lower below any of this other stuff, let me back out real quick. You might take that trade as an aggressive one, because those are often important lows. And you can see today that was an important low. At the very least, you get maybe 363. It's at least a 10 or 11 point move. But if you really rode out the pullback here, I mean, it could be a 15 point, 16 point move or so. So anyway, just another possibility. These are always aggressive doing that, especially when there's no break of the trend line or anything. But you can clearly see the support we had there and how far away from the EMA is there. Prices are going to snap back. Your hope is you get a higher low to get a safer entry. Sometimes you don't get one. So that's true rejection. It took it a minute, but once we broke lower, it rejected. See, it's really accepting these prices here until it breaks and gives you that trap, and then you get some rejection. It takes off, and there's clearly 2 legs up there. And then you get 2 legs down, and then we're off back to the upside again. So anyway, that's what I saw today. I'm going to wrap it up, and for once we'll have a short chart lesson. And we'll be back again tomorrow. Believe it or not, another week gone by. We'll wrap our week up tomorrow. So no chart lessons on Fridays if you're new to the channel. I have to have a day off somewhere. So these chart lessons, while you may only see me talking 15 to 20, 25 minutes, by the time you record that and then process the video and upload it, it turns out to be an hour to hour and a half of my time every day. So there's a little bit of work that goes into these. So at some point I finally said, after years of doing it, I'm just not going to do them on Friday anymore. So that's the reason there's no Friday chart lesson. So if you're just curious why I stopped doing them on Friday, I like that. I'm trying to get out of here a little early on Fridays and start my weekend and really enjoy trading. For the reason I got into it was to simplify my life and have more free time, more time to spend with my family and things like that. And unfortunately, I'm a bit of a workaholic, and all I did was seem to have done was work myself into more work again, like I usually do. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to do. So hopefully you guys understand that, you guys and gals. I know there's a lot of both genders watching, so hopefully y'all understand that and respect that. And anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow and wrap up our week. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next.